Good afternoon. Hope you're having a great day. I meant to come on yesterday and talk about this, but I literally didn't get a chance because yesterday in the morning after Minyan at Shul, I drove to New York, to Queens, to the old Montefiore Cemetery, where I went with my family and tens of thousands of others to pray at the Ohel, the holy resting place of the Lubavitcher Rebbe of blessed memory. Why did I go specifically yesterday? The reason I went yesterday was because yesterday was the 27th yahrzeit of the Rebbe. And on a day of a yahrzeit, it's an auspicious day to go and pray at the holy resting place of a tzaddik. And I arrived at the Ohel at 12:30. But I had a lot of time to think because I immediately went onto the line, which stretched for probably, if you counted all the times you had to turn around, over a mile. It took me 3.5 hours to just get to walk by the Rebbe's Ohel. I didn't even get to stand there, just to walk by and pray as I circled it around and say and read my note that I left and ripped up there as is the custom, and then continued praying as I had done the whole way while I was waiting in line. But while I was waiting in line, I kept on thinking about the Rebbe and his impact. You know, there's another time that we read about the day, the 3rd of Tammuz, which was yesterday. And that is thousands of years earlier in the book of Judges, chapter 10, where we read about Joshua, how Joshua conquered the land of Israel and brought the Jews in. But earlier, when Joshua sent spies, he had made a promise to the Gibeonites that he would protect them. And Joshua was in a battle against the 5 kings of Israel, protecting the Gibeonites. But there was one problem. The problem was that the sun was about to set. And since the sun was about to set, Joshua prayed to God and asked him that the sun should remain in the sky and shouldn't set, so he could finish his job and be victorious and protect the Gibeonites as he has promised. And so happened. And as I was sitting on that line that seemed to never end, and people that came later than me waited 4 and 5 hours, I thought about the sun that seemed to never set, and the metaphor for the Rebbe, who passed away 27 years ago, but whose sun never set. The light, the radiance, the love, the impact the Rebbe had continues in such a remarkable way, unprecedented in Jewish history, for one man. In the 1900 years that the Jews have been exiled from Israel, there hasn't been one man whose reach has gone so far, with thousands of emissaries in every corner of the world. I just thought about our Shabbos. Friday night I had a dinner for 75 people, and we celebrated Shabbat, and we all wrapped tefillin and lit Shabbos candles. Shabbos day, shul was full. And I thought, over 100 people, I thought about the impact we had in one little corner of the far-flung world. And to think that there are 4,000 emissaries of the Rebbe doing this all over the world. And many, many tens of thousands of others doing it in every capacity of that world. And I wanted to share with you a remarkable story that lets you know that the Rebbe's influence wasn't just in the Jewish world, but it stretched way and far beyond the Jewish world. And it tells a story that's quoted in the book The Rebbe by Rabbi Talushkin, a conservative rabbi who wrote a book about the Rebbe. And in there he writes about one of the first black representatives in Congress, whose name was Shirley Sishlone. And Shirley Sishlone was from Brooklyn, Crown Heights, where she represented the African American and Hasidic community. And when she was elected to Congress, she was put onto this they put her onto the agriculture committee. And she was very sad because she understood that this was a way to dull her impact. Because what's her urban community of Hasidim and African Americans in Brooklyn, what's it going to help her being on the agriculture committee, which dealt with agriculture in the farms in America in the South? And she requested a meeting from the Rebbe, and she came to meet with the Rebbe. And the Rebbe told her like this. The Rebbe said to Shirley, he said, listen, America, it's a known fact that America has a surplus of food being grown on the farms in the South that they don't even know what to do with it, and they get a loss for it. Instead of looking at this and being sad about what the people who gave you this job thought, think about the opportunity you have to redirect this money in a creative way towards poor and needy families. So instead of there being a surplus that goes to waste, there'll be extra food for those who need it. And she was instrumental in creating the WIC program, which was a program for pregnant mothers and mothers with little children, which WIC stands for Women, Infants, and Children, which would allow these mothers who were so important for them to nurse their children to be able to have the nutritional foods they needed for their children. And WIC spread throughout America. Until today, WIC is one of the most important programs for young children in America not to go hungry and to have the nutritional values they need. And in 1995, posthumously, President Barack Obama awarded Shirley Sishlone with the Medal of Freedom. And at the ceremony in the White House, November 2015, I think, President Obama says, "A tree grew in Brooklyn." And yes, was he right? The Lubavitcher Rebbe planted a tree in Brooklyn together with Shirley Sishlone by inspiring her to use this, which she thought had no impact, which she thought he was being put on this Committee of Agriculture to be marginalized. The Rebbe inspired her to use it to create the WIC program. And this tree that the Rebbe planted in Brooklyn in 1970 keeps on growing fruits that are impacting thousands and tens of thousands of homes in America, if not millions, that these children should have nutrition and food. And this is the Rebbe whose yahrzeit, the 27th yahrzeit, was on the 3rd of Tammuz. And just as thousands of years ago, Joshua, our great leader who brought us into Israel, prayed to God and the sun didn't set, so too the Lubavitcher Rebbe's son, his influence, his power, his inspiration has never set. And the Rebbe continues to influence both physically and spiritually tens of thousands of homes all over the world, if not millions. And the proof is just by standing in line at the Ohel, waiting 4 hours to go into 2 minutes to pray at the Rebbe's graveside, and seeing people of all walks of life, of all ages, of all affiliations, of all religions, praying and asking the Rebbe to continue his inspiration. And we should make sure that the Rebbe's sun never sets until the day, as we finished in Maimonides yesterday, when the world will be full of the knowledge of God, just as the water fills the ocean. A time of redemption, of ultimate redemption. May it happen speedily in our days. Have a great day.